welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to talk about efforts to connect with our gay and trans neighbors and some things the city is doing to help people understand diversity and in partnership with the police department. My guests are Sunithia Newby from the Citizens Unity Commission and Sergeant Nakia Peak from the police department. Welcome.
Thank you, Robin.
Now, this is something that some people don't want to talk about. We just be quiet.
Yeah.
Why is it important to bring this out in the open?
Well, I think for the city of Hampton, because we are a very diverse community, and we definitely have members of the LGBTQ community living in our community. And so to not have a conversation that's around our LGBTQ neighbors, I think would be a complete oversight on our part. And it definitely would not enhance the work that we're doing to be a very inclusive community. So it's very appropriate for us in this community because across the country, there's stories about what's going on with the LGBTQ community. And so it's perfect timing, I think, for the city.
So it fits with the Citizens Unity Commission's mission and goals. Why, and I'm saying this a little bit antagonistically, I don't necessarily mean it, but Sergeant Peak, why is the police department involved? Why is it a police issue?
It's a community issue. In the police department, we're here to serve everybody in the community. And you have LGBTQ members that do not reach out to the police department because of past experience. They're afraid and they just don't know who to talk to. Like Sunithia said, it's very sensitive, and some people may have not come out to their families, and they're scared if they come to the police, then maybe it will come out that they're part of the LGBT community. So it's important to have a connection with the police department, with somebody for them to speak to that they feel comfortable with, to report anything, whether it's a crime or they just have a question, or even if they want to apply for a job.
So, it is, within my memory of being in Hampton, when there were no gay bars, when gay people were not necessarily welcome, and felt, at least, harassed by police. I don't know if that was true or not, but there was certainly a lot of fear in the community. And I think today we have a lot of partnerships. Tourism is certainly reaching out to the gay community and the dollars they bring. And with Hampton being, I think, as much of an arts community and music and all that downtown and in Phoebus, you are seeing, I think, more people either feel comfortable and come out, or moving here, or both.
And I think it's the reason why we decided to form a partnership that didn't just include two city departments. Sergeant Peak and I met back in March of this year, about 2 months after she was appointed to her position. And so we began to talk about, how can we work together? Because as she stated, it is a community issue. And so what can we do together? And because of the linkages that she'd already made with Hampton Roads Pride, which primarily operates on the South Side, she was really bridging the gap between the peninsula and the South Side by connecting with that community-based organization. And so they came to the table and we said, hey, how can we all work together? And we did our first event together back in June, and it was really a great opportunity for citizens to come out to learn more about our LGBTQ neighbors and learn more about challenges, experiences, fears, anxieties, things that they're excited about. And so I think we had a great turnout for that event to just really initiate conversation, which was the goal of the partnership.
Now, you threw out a lot of initials.
I did.
And we here on Round Robin try not to do that. They're very common, and a lot of people know what they are. But if you could go through all of them,
sure,
that might help our viewers.
Yes. So when I say LGBTQ, L is for lesbian, G is for gay, B is for bisexual, T is for transgender, and Q is for queer or questioning. And the Q can be somewhat controversial for some.
Oh, it was a bad word, back in the day.
Right, but for
some. It was an insult. And I think
absolutely.
the younger generation in particular
yes.
kind of embraces it. And I think that's the LGBTQ, if I haven't forgotten one, spectrum too, is that it sort of divides the community, and it sort of is a uniter. And I think the younger people, at least in particular, are kind of going, let's stick with the cute because we can maybe all embrace that, but it isn't always embraced. It's a difficult thing, I think, in the community.
But I think it shows a spectrum, though. And so I think one of the things that we have to remember, even when we talk about diversity in our community, even in the ways that we are diverse within those pockets, there's even more diversity. And so I think when I think about all of the letters, I think about it in terms of how people are free to identify themselves in the way that speaks most to who they believe they are. And so I think it's really important to be able to have that self-identifier.
Well, I think so. And certainly, in the early days of the movement in particular, in any movement, a lot of times it's the men who are in control, who are the organizers, who have a little bit more of the power. And so gay women or gay people of color didn't always feel like they had a voice in the early days of the movement. It was very based in New York and San Francisco. So really it is also about not forgetting the people that might be, there might be fewer demographics of them, or they might have more issues in terms of coming out or being accepted. And people who travel through multiple communities and identities, it can be kind of confusing.
Absolutely. And I think as you referenced that, Robin, it just really makes me think how much inclusion is so much more important, that there's a place that everyone can find in community. And it's another reason why we had a new partner that has come to the table, and that's the Conventions and Bureau. I can get my words together.
Right. CVB. We can throw in another.
I can say CVB. So CVB has come to the table for an event we're working on coming up in December, because really the goal of our partnership is to be able to provide opportunities for citizens to come together on a quarterly basis, so that it's not something we just do to say, oh yeah, we've done this, but it's something ongoing that gives us an opportunity to create education. And to also create an atmosphere where people can come together to get to know each other. And so you don't have to be a part of the LGBTQ community to participate in our events. It's open to anyone. They're free. They're open to the public. And then again, I think it's a great opportunity to connect and to learn more about those whom we live in community with.
And tell us more about that event.
Yes. So on December the 2nd at the Hampton History Museum, we're going to be having our second quarterly event. And we have entitled this event Changing, or The Tides Are Changing, LGBT and law enforcement working together. As Sergeant Peake pointed out previously, I think there's been a disconnect sometimes historically between law enforcement and the LGBTQ community. And so what we're really hoping to do...
Well, I think let's go back to the day when things like sodomy was on the books. I mean, really, it's a big gap.
Yeah. And so we're hoping to bridge that gap, literally, by creating an opportunity for citizens to come together to know, a couple of things. That one, law enforcement is here to help. They are here to support, really to dispel the fear factor of, because I'm a part of the LGBTQ community, I can't reach out to law enforcement. What are they going to think? What are they going to feel? Are they going to think that I brought this upon myself because of my sexual orientation? And those are the types of myths that we really want to dispel on December 2nd. And so again, it's not just open to LGBTQ. It is open to anyone in the community, and we're going to treat it as what we call a fishbowl conversation, where we're going to have law enforcement there to sit and talk with members of the LGBTQ community, and then it'll be open for everyone to contribute to that conversation, to ask the hard questions, to dispel those myths. And so we're really excited about it. And so more advertisement will be coming about our December 2nd event at the Hampton History Museum. It is on a Saturday at 1 p.m.
Okay. So, Nikia, how has this, and I saw a lot of comments on Facebook when your role was announced. Make it clear that this is not your full-time job, that we did not hire an extra police officer to be the liaison. This is a part of what you do in terms of community outreach.
Yes, ma'am.
What have you learned, or what has really struck you since you've begun this effort?
I'm still learning. I attend all the Hampton Roads Pride meetings every month in Norfolk. I have learned the South Side has a huge following of the LGBT community and is more open with the businesses and things across the water. So we're just trying to bring that to Hampton. Me attending meetings has helped. I'm like one of the family. They see me coming, or if I'm missing, oh, where's Sergeant P? We missed you last month. So it helps me, and I think it helps the LGBT community because my name is getting out there on the peninsula side, that there is somebody on this side that can help with anything they need or answer any questions.
Okay. What message do you want to leave the public with as we talk about gay issues and trans issues? I think are in some ways related and in some ways very different right now. Right. I remember I was moderating a panel that had Gavin Grimm on it, and he said, thank y'all for including me under the rainbow umbrella, but my issues are really pretty different than a lot of the other people up here. It is a disparate group.
Yeah. I think one of the most important messages that we want to take away or want people to take away is that sexual orientation is no longer a taboo topic. It's no longer a topic that we have to shun. It's not something we have to run away from because it's around us everywhere. It's, on our jobs, in our faith communities, in our neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. And so even if we don't want to acknowledge the fact that we have LGBTQ neighbors, we have LGBTQ neighbors. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to not understand everything. And so we come together to increase understanding. We come together to make sure that we're doing our part to ensure that everyone feels included in this community. And so I think those are two main things we want to take away is removing the taboo of it and also promoting more inclusive community.
Well, and I think we need to see it generationally too, because our kids they think completely differently about this issue than we do, and certainly than our parents do. And, people are much more fluid, much more willing to talk about things or question things. And it's really changing, I think, communities and relationships and the way people are figuring things out.
Yeah, and I think the generational piece that you bring up is so important because we learn from one another across generations. I think our millennials, our young people can teach us a lot about being inclusive.
Yes.
They can teach us a lot about making sure that we don't look down on one another. We're all in community together, and it doesn't mean we all have to be alike. We don't all have to think alike. We don't all have to live alike.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a horrible society if we all thought and looked the same? That's like science fiction territory.
Absolutely. So I think we definitely need that generational approach to really challenge our own ways of thinking. So.
Okay. Well, thank you both very much, and I look forward to the event in December.
Thank you, Robin.
And thank you for watching. I hope you understand a little bit more about diversity and talking to folks and being inclusive with all of our neighbors. Thanks for watching.